Zugbeeinflussung.
In this training module, you will be shown how to use the AFB speed control system. The train has already been set up for you. You'll need to activate AFB through the left multifunction display.
AFB, AFB, AFB.
Apply power to get moving. The train will accelerate until it reaches the selected speed and then maintain it. The AFB speed control system also works with the LZB safety system and will use LZB's maximum permitted speed to control how fast you are going. LZB is covered in a different training module. You are approaching the station. Let's begin to slow down. The train brake, rather than AFB, should be used when you wish to stop. Do not rely solely on AFB for track speed reductions or slowing for signals.
Störung.
Well done! You have completed the introduction on how to use the AFB speed control system.
Zugbeeinflussung.
In this training module, you'll be out on the real railway, and you'll be learning about the LZB safety system. LZB is required on lines that allow for speeds higher than 160 km per hour, as the braking distances are too high for normal signal operation. This train has already been mostly set up for you, but before you depart, you will need to make sure the LZB safety system and AFB speed control system are switched on. The safety switches are in the isolation cabinet. To enable LZB, first head over to the cabinet and then set the LZ. Sit in the driver's seat. Enable the AFB speed control system in the left multifunction display. Follow the objectives. If you need any more information on the AFB speed control system, there is a dedicated training module which you can access in the training center.
AFB.
Okay. Set the AFB to 60 km per hour with the AFB speed selector, and then apply some power with the throttle to get the train moving. As you are already in an LZB area, the train is already showing the U indicator in the cab and on the HUD, which tells you that the train is under active LZB monitoring. There are two primary components to LZB in the cab. The current maximum permitted speed is indicated on the speedometer with a small red triangle and on the HUD by a blue marker. Currently, the maximum permitted speed is 250 km per hour. The distance to the next upcoming change is shown on the left of the speedometer by a yellow bar and a number, which is the number of meters to the change. On the HUD, this is in hundreds of meters, so a reading of 97 means 9,700 meters, or 9.7 kilometers. Below the speedometer, the upcoming maximum permitted speed is displayed. Move the AFB speed selector all the way forward to its maximum 330 km per hour setting, and notice that the LZB system has applied its own maximum to it, and will continue to ensure that the train does not exceed the LZB maximum permitted speed. The LZB distance counter has started going down, and the number at the bottom of the speedometer in the cab is 0, which tells you that you're approaching a stop. You will soon see the LZB maximum permitted speed begin to drop, and the train will automatically begin to slow down to stay within it. It will do this all the way to stopping the train without your intervention. However, you should remain vigilant and apply more braking if you feel it's needed to remain within the maximum permitted speed. Keep an observing eye on the progress of the train. Since the maximum permitted speed is reducing, the automated systems should manage it perfectly, but are not a substitute for the driver in charge. The G indicator has lit up on the HUD and on the train display. When this is solidly lit, that is telling you that the train must slow down. With the AFB speed control system enabled, this should happen automatically. However, if you choose to drive without AFB, This is when you should be slowing down. Once the G-light starts flashing, you are going too fast and are about to get an emergency brake application. You should brake much stronger if this happens and get back below the maximum permitted speed. Okay, you're about to see a signal with all its lights turned off. This is called a dark signal. Signals go dark when there is a train in the section they protect. With traditional signaling systems, this would show a red and prohibit you from going any further until the other train has moved. But under LZB, you are able to rely on this more advanced system to let you proceed into the occupied block safely, knowing that LZB will direct you to stop as required. This is the main signal showing no lights, related to the previous distance signal that you passed. You are now entering an occupied block and will continue to rely on LZB as it brings you to a stop.
AFB.
As you now come to a stop, keep an eye out for the white board on the right-hand side of the track ahead. It will have a number in it. On this line, LZB works by breaking the large main blocks into much smaller ones and representing those by these white boards on the right. This is an LZB block board, and it's this board that your train is not permitted to pass at the moment. You have come to a stop, and the train ahead has already started moving. So momentarily, LZB will recognize this, and the maximum permitted speed will jump up, and you'll be able to get moving again. The white board with a symbol that looks like an X means this is a distance signal, and is warning you that the next main signal is protecting an occupied block, so both this and the following signal will be dark. Continue to monitor progress as the train comes to a complete stop shortly.
AFB. AFB. AFB.
You are now proceeding along the line into Würzburg. A few kilometers out of Würzburg, you'll need to handle the train into the station. For now, continue to monitor the train as it navigates the different speeds while you follow the train up ahead. In a moment, the ender light will begin flashing on the HUD and in the cab. Once this happens, you will have 10 seconds to respond to it. You will need to press PZB release. If you fail to do so in time, the train will begin braking towards zero, but you can still press PZB release at any point to regain control of the train. The ender light flashing signifies that LZB control will be coming to an end soon, and it is therefore crucial that the driver confirms they will be taking back full control of the train.
Zugbeeinflussung. 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 Zugbeeinflussung.
Once acknowledged, the ender light will remain on and solid, confirming that it has been acknowledged and reminding you that LZB will be ending soon. Once LZB actually ends, the light will go out. You do not need to acknowledge the final end of LZB, but your AFB will become inactive until you reset it to zero and then reapply it. As you are leaving LZB control, it becomes important that you begin reading the signals up ahead in more detail. This one has a 6 below the lights and is telling you that you must be doing less than 60 km per hour by the next signal. Begin slowing as required. The ender light has just gone out completely, which means that you are now completely out of LZB control and back to traditional signaling systems. The U indicator has also gone out, confirming LZB is no longer active, and the B indicator has come on, letting you know it remains ready to come back online later. By now, the train should be going around 60 km per hour as instructed by the previous signal, and the next one with the 3 at the bottom is instructing you to be down to 30 km per hour by the next signal. Now that you are out of LZB, you should reset the AFB selector lever back to zero. As you are approaching a stop in the station ahead, however, you should not reapply it. Continue into the station using the throttle and brake as required. This signal with 2 yellow lights on it tells you that the next signal following it is a red stop signal, so you should prepare to stop. In this case, the stop signal is at the other end of the platform, where you will be stopping anyway. But it is good to be aware of the upcoming signals. Now that you are out of LZB, you should reset the AFB selector lever back to zero. As you are approaching a stop in the station ahead, however, you should not reapply it. Continue into the station using the throttle and brake as required.
AFB. AFB. AFB.
You've arrived successfully at Würzburg. Well done. That concludes this training module. Please repeat this module as many times as you wish by finding it in the training center until you get used to how the systems work.
Okay, in this training module, you'll be learning how to perform a hill start and practice the switch from throttle to braking as you crest a gradient and go from ascending to descending. You'll be using GE ES44C4 locomotives hauling heavy intermodal freight. Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive. When getting moving, it's worth remembering the following sequence that was covered in the locomotive training modules. Independent on, auto off. Throttle on, independent off. Let's go through that slowly and understand why. If you apply power too quickly, the wheels will slip. If this happens, reduce the amount of power to regain control and then gently reapply. If you are struggling for grip, apply sand to increase traction. That's it. You're moving forwards under power. If you use the same start process every time you begin moving, it'll become second nature. Congratulations, you have reached the summit. As you start your descent, you'll need to switch to dynamic brakes to control your speed. The most effective speed for dynamic brakes is around 30 miles per hour. So if you're exceeding that speed, you should be slowing down. Above 30 miles per hour, the dynamic brakes become a lot less effective, and you will be more reliant on the automatic brake. The automatic brake on its own will not provide enough fine control over the speed of the train. It's a blunt instrument because you can't partially release the brakes, and they take a few minutes to apply to the setting you've asked for. If you try to rely on just the automatic brake, you will often find yourself coming to a halt or going over speed while you wait anxiously for the brakes to apply. Watch the train speed as it crests the top of the gradient. You'll go from needing power to maintain speed to finding that power starting to accelerate the train. When you see that, start backing off power and aim to keep your speed below 30 miles per hour. Once your throttle is at 0 and you're starting to pick up speed a little, it's time to get the dynamic brakes into their setup position. They'll need to be there for 10 seconds before you can use them further. Start adding dynamic brake as needed to keep the speed in check. The dynamic brake is only on the locomotive and will react nearly instantly. As you begin to get to larger amounts of dynamic brake needing to be applied, it's time to bring in the automatic brake to help. In most cases, a minimum set of automatic brake is enough. Apply that now. Watch out that on some locomotives, as you apply the automatic brake, this will cut the dynamic brake out entirely. This is because of the brakes applying on your locomotive. If you notice this happening, pull the independent brake towards you into the bail-off position, and it will release those brakes only, leaving the automatic brake on the rest of the train. And you will see the dynamic brake come back into action immediately. As the automatic brake begins to take effect down the length of the train, you'll notice the train begin to slow down due to the extra braking effort. Gently dial back the amount of dynamic brake to compensate for this, and continue to try and aim to keep your speed around but not exceeding 30 miles per hour. If you find that full dynamic brake is unable to hold the train speed, add a little air with the automatic brake. Wait to see how the train reacts, and adjust with the dynamics as needed. Always work under your target speed of 30 miles per hour. If you find yourself chasing faster speeds, you'll need to take more substantial corrective action with the automatic brake. Okay, come to a stop up ahead using the automatic brake. Right. Well, that concludes this training module. It is highly recommended that you practice both hill starting and the change from ascent to descent until you are comfortable with them. They are one of the more challenging aspects of operating heavy freight, and you'll really feel like you're in more control of this train as you get the hang of this task. All right, in this training module, you'll be learning about the different brake types found in a typical U.S. freight locomotive. Take a seat in the engineer's position. Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive. This locomotive has 3 types of brakes: independent, automatic, and dynamic. And the operation of them can be counterintuitive until you get the hang of how they work. The independent brake applies brakes on just the locomotives and should be used when running a light loco or performing hill starts. They respond very quickly, but won't be of great use when you've got a long, heavy train behind you. The automatic brake applies brakes on the entire formation and should be used when bringing a consist to a stop, assisting the dynamic brakes on steep descents, or otherwise making more substantial speed decreases. These brakes are slow to respond, and you can't partially release them. So if you want a bit less braking, you have to release them entirely, wait for the system to repressurize, and then you can reapply. The dynamic brake uses the locomotive's traction motors to slow the train down. These can be very effective at controlling your speed on descents, and are mostly effective between around 10 and 30 miles per hour. Either side of that, you're going to need one of the other brake systems. There are several gauges used to describe what is happening in the brake system of this locomotive, and they're common to a wide range of locomotives. The brake cylinder, or BC gauge, tells you the amount of pressure going directly onto the wheels. This is ultimately how much braking effort is stopping your train. If it's 0, the train is not applying any brakes. The independent brake lever directly controls this, but be aware that this is only reporting the state of the brake cylinder on your own locomotive, and not the rest of the train. Apply the independent brake now to full, and notice that the BC gauge rapidly changes to reflect that. The brake pipe, or BP gauge, tells you the amount of pressure on the brake pipe that extends the length of the entire train. On U.S. freight, this is pressurized at 90 psi as normal. The brake pipe serves 2 functions. One is to provide air to all the freight cars down the length of the train so they can charge their own reservoirs. The other is that its pressure controls what the other vehicles do with their brakes. At 90 psi, the brakes on all vehicles will be released. As the brake pressure in the brake pipe drops below 90 psi, the other vehicles will apply brakes. Depending on the length of your train, changing the pressure on the brake pipe can be quite time-consuming, whether charging it up to release the brakes or reducing the pressure to apply them. And this is the reason that automatic brakes are tricky to use. The brake pipe works in conjunction with another system called the equalizing reservoir. Because charging the brake pipe is time-consuming, and you don't want to be watching that to find the right pressure, the equalizing reservoir is a much faster responding gauge and is what you primarily use to control the brake pipe. The automatic brake handle controls the equalizing reservoir. Apply the brakes a little with a lever, it'll cause the equalizing reservoir to lower in pressure rapidly to the desired level. This causes the brake pipe to begin slowly changing to match the equalizing reservoir, and it'll automatically release the automatic brake, and you will see the equalizing reservoir rapidly rise back to 90 psi. At this point, the final reservoir will come into action, the main reservoir, shown as MR on the HUD. This is a high-pressure reservoir which is used to feed air pressure back into the brake pipe to make it go up again. You'll see the brake pipe begin to climb, the main reservoir begin to drop, and periodically the compressor will start up to put more air back into the main reservoir until the brake pipe finally matches the equalizing reservoir again. Now there are some key behaviors of this system to remember. The longer the formation, the slower the brake pipe will be to respond. You cannot partially release automatic brakes. If you are braking too much, you may need to fully release the brakes, allow the brake pipe to get back to 90 psi again, and then you can reapply them. This should be carefully considered, however, as you will have no air brakes during this time. Bring the train to a stop in the indicated position using the automatic brake. that concludes this training module. It's covered a lot of theory, but understanding the way these brakes work will help you understand why your train reacts the way it does. These freight trains are nothing like modern passenger trains with fast-acting and fully controllable brakes, but equally, they must manage massive, long, and heavy trains on steep gradients, an entirely different kind of challenge. But run this module again in the training center, and repeat it any time you need a refresher.
In this training module, you'll be learning how to use the TVM in-cab signalling system. At high speeds, trains may take longer to stop than the visual range of the driver. The TVM 430 in-cab signalling system alerts drivers to changes in speed from several kilometres away. So you're currently around Dagenham, Essex, just before Tunnel 2 heading towards London St Pancras. In this training module, you'll be driving westbound into London and understanding all the indications that the TVM system is giving you to safely complete the journey. You'll be stopping at Stratford International and London St Pancras. The TVM system splits the line up into a series of blocks. The start of these is indicated by a TVM block marker. You can see these along the side of the line as a yellow triangle set against a blue background such as the one directly in front of you now. Get the train moving and let's get going. Most of this journey is going to take place in tunnels, and that will make it easier to focus on the TVM indications coming up in the cab. The first difference you will notice when driving on the high-speed section under TVM control is that all the speed indications in the cab are in kilometres per hour, while the other non-TVM controlled lines are in miles per hour. The train will automatically switch between the two. The TVM 430 display is made up of a series of indicators on the top centre of the control desk, and you will see numbers lighting up in various positions as you go. Only one number will be displayed at any time, and this number is your current maximum permitted speed. This is also shown on the HUD with a blue marker. As you get started, you can see that the train is showing a 225 display, meaning that our maximum permitted speed is currently 225 kilometers per hour. Keep accelerating. You are now diving into Tunnel 2 bound for London. As you approach Stratford International, the TVM system will begin slowing you down, ready to stop, and this will be explained as it happens. In a moment, the 225 indicator will begin flashing. That means the next block will be at a reduced speed. You don't need to do anything now except prepare to slow down. Next, you will see the indicator change to show a flashing 200. This means that you should now be slowing down to reach no faster than 200 kilometers per hour by the next block marker. Additionally, since it's flashing, you know that the next block will be slower as well, so you can continue braking. Wait for the indicator to change and then begin to slow. The indicator will next change to a flashing 160. Once this has appeared, continue slowing so that you are no faster than 160 kilometers per hour by the next marker. It is flashing, so you will continue to be slower at the following block too. The TVM system will next show a steady 100. Once it has appeared, continue slowing down to no faster than 100 kilometers per hour by the next marker. Since it is steady, you know that TVM will not be slowing you down further. As you exit Tunnel 2 into Stratford International Station, apply brakes as needed to come to a stop. Great work! You've stopped at Stratford International. For this training module, you don't need to open the doors, so let's get going and do the second leg of this journey into London St Pancras. You won't receive any further guidance on how to understand TVM. Use what you've just learned. It will be a similar approach slowing you down out of Tunnel 1 into London St Pancras to the one you just did. As you get started, note that your maximum permitted speed is still 100 km per hour, but it will rise to 225 km per hour as you enter Tunnel 1. Remember, flashing indications mean that the next block will report a lower maximum permitted speed, and when you get a reduction in maximum permitted speed, you have until the start of the next block to achieve it. From here on, TVM is shut down and the indicators will have gone. Now you're back to relying on route knowledge, or the HUD, to know about upcoming signals and speed limit changes. Watch for speed reductions as you continue your final journey into London St Pancras. That concludes the basics of driving under TVM. Rerun this training module in the training centre whenever you want a refresher on how to understand the TVM 430 signalling system. In this training module, you'll be learning how to switch between the third rail and overhead power modes in the Class 395. This needs to be performed at Ebbsfleet, when a Class 395 service switches between the DC third rail lines between Ebbsfleet and Faversham and the overhead power lines between Ebbsfleet and London St Pancras. OK. You are just outside Ebbsfleet Station, heading in the direction of Faversham. Begin by getting the train moving and pull into the platform. Please review the Class 395 training module if you would like a reminder on how to make the train start and stop. Now that you're stopped in the platform, get the doors open and then you can start the power change process. Hold the DC button until its indicator light comes on to switch to third rail power mode. This will also lower the overhead power collector. You will see the line volt light has gone out, meaning the train has no power at all, and the MCB VCB light has come on, telling you the circuit breakers are open. Press the pan up shoes down button to lower the third rail shoes and draw power to the train. The line volt light should now be lit. This shows that power is detected. A few moments after the line volt light comes on, the MCB VCB light will go out as the circuit breakers are automatically reset when changing power in this direction. Congratulations! You have successfully switched power modes. Close the doors and pull forwards to the indicated marker on the track, so that you can get ready to try this the other way around. You'll find that the train is slower to accelerate under DC power than when on the overhead lines. Okay, it's time to change ends. First, you'll need to deactivate this cab. Move the reverser to off and then remove the master key. Exit this cab and move to the other end of the train and sit in the driver's seat there. Now you're ready to activate this cab and head into Ebbsfleet as if you are a London-bound train. Pull into Ebbsfleet station once the signal is showing green. Open the doors and then let's switch to overhead mode. You will need to do this at Ebbsfleet when driving a Class 395 towards London. Press and hold the CTRL button until it lights up to switch to overhead power mode and raise the third rail pickup shoes. Press the pan up shoes down button to raise the pantograph. The line light should now be lit. This shows that power is detected. However, it is currently isolated by the Master Circuit Breaker, or MCB. Press the pan up shoes down button again to close the MCB. You can verify that this has been successful by checking that the MCB VCB light has gone out. Notice that when changing power when heading to London, you need to press this button twice, whereas when heading out of London, you only needed to press it once. Finally, close the doors and pull forward out of Ebbsfleet to prove your power is working and stop at the indicated marker. Congratulations! That's all for this training module. You should practice this module until you're comfortable with the process, so that you don't run into problems in the middle of a longer run.
In this training module, you will learn how to read and react to semaphore signalling. In the top right are the signal and speed limit displays. These feature an indication of what is approaching and a countdown distance to when they will come into effect. Green indicates that you are clear to pass the signal. Yellow indicates that you can proceed, but with caution, as the next signal might be red, or there could be a hazard. Red indicates that you should stop and should not pass this signal. Some of these displays can be hidden by the settings menu for a more challenging experience. Now let's look at some of the signals that you will see on this line. There are two principal classes of signals. Home and starter signals. These are mandatory, and an approaching driver must stop if the signal displays a danger aspect. Distance signals. These are a warning. An approaching driver may pass the signal displaying a caution aspect, but must be prepared to stop following the signal. The signal in front of you is currently displaying a danger aspect. That means the line ahead is not clear, and you must wait. The signal in front of you is now cleared. However, the next distance signal could display caution, meaning that the following signal will be displaying a danger aspect. Stay vigilant and keep an eye out for the next signal. Proceed when ready. Remember, you can always just look at the heads-up display if you are unsure what the next signal is. That concludes this training module. In this training module, you will learn how to refill the tender with water and coal before coupling up to a set of freight wagons. Firstly, you'll need to prepare the locomotive to receive water. Walk over to the water crane, where you will need to move the water hose over to the rear of the locomotive's tender. Now the hose is in position, climb up the tender and open the water hatch. Insert the hose into the tender tank once the water hatch is open. The hose is in, and the tender tank is ready to be filled. Turn on the water and start filling the tender tank. Turn off the water and bring the hose back to the water crane before closing the water tank. Now you need to fill the tender with coal. The locomotive is ready to go, but the points in front need switching. These points are manually controlled, so you will have to leave the locomotive and walk to the points. Pull the junction lever to switch the direction of the points. The locomotive is now ready to move. Climb aboard the locomotive and drive it to the stop marker. The points into the siding have been set for us. Slowly reverse into the sidings and stop in front of the wagons. To couple to the wagons, climb down from the locomotive and walk to the rear of the tender. The wagons are now coupled and the service is ready to start. Climb back aboard the locomotive and drive to the yard exit to finish the tutorial. That concludes this training module.